ASAP Rocky, Don't Be Dumb is projected to sell 200,000 units in the first week. I have to start by saying that that is an amazing number for Rocky, so shout out to him. But on this channel, we always do deep dives into how he was able to achieve this. What are the business moves that he made to set himself up for success? I'll also dive into the project musically and talk about what I liked, what I disliked, and also talk about the social media discourse that has been going on from different fan bases, from different media outlets. There's a lot to talk about. If it's your first time here, I go by the name Jay Roebuck, and on this channel, we not only discuss music, we discuss the business of music. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video with a friend, hype the video. Let's get this into the algorithm. I won't hold you any longer. Let's get right into it. Let me start by framing this. I have to do this. It's quite important because it changes the way and it affects the way that I view Rocky as an artist, as a creator, and as a musician. When I look at ASAP Rocky, or I will call him Rocky in this video, I don't view him as a rapper first. And the reason why I don't view him as a rapper first is because we grew up in the same era in Harlem, right? I didn't know him personally. I've been around him a few times. I know people who are connected to him, who went to high school with him, who done business with him. So when I think about Rocky, this is the Rocky I think of. I think about Montclair Rocky, who was setting trends in Harlem. I think about Million Dollar Baby Rocky, who was a part of one of the most, legendary crews that came up in that era. That is how I view him. He was always a curator. He was always an artist. He was always different. That's who he is as a person. So even when I first discovered that he was rapping and I got into these first mixtapes, I'm like, I can't believe that this is the same person, because it's a little bit different than the guy who I heard about or who I was around during those formative years. So I've always seen the creative side and the side of Rocky that was willing to push things to a different space, because the way that he dressed and the way that he moved in Harlem during that time was different, right? People looked at it and said, well, this isn't the normal style. So when we got that transition from MDB Rocky to ASAP Rocky and the formation of the ASAP crew, it really shined a light on who he was all along. So that's how I view him, as an artist, as a visionary, and someone who pushes trends and makes people view him in a different way, and they can recognize that him being different isn't a negative thing. Him being different is sometimes being ahead of the curve. And at this time in the picture, I also included Rocky, and standing next to him is a guy named Naka. Naka is another legend from Harlem. You should check out the interview he just did with the NFS podcast, which was on Revolt. Those two together shaped the way that Harlem moved for a number of years, and I think was influential in the way that Rocky carries himself now. So I'm happy that they were able to reconnect, piece things up. And I think the connection there has also impacted this album, because if you look at the producers, if you look at some of the features, you see a distance between the ASAP crew and where Rocky is now, right? If you saw what happened with the trial with his friend, if you saw that him and Ferg are no longer, on the same page, that's displayed in this album, right? It's not the same sound as he used to have. And I think it helps him a bit, because I think it forced him to be a bit more creative, for better or for worse, depending on how you feel about the album. But all of those background stories, all of those friendships, all of those old crews influenced the product that we got. Well, let's get into the business now. You want to know, how did he get 200,000 first week sales? A lot of people are surprised. A lot of people are saying they don't believe the number. They think it's botted. Listen, we'll get down to how exactly he did it. But the first thing that he did very well, which is what he always does, is he delivered visuals, okay? The color pops, the scheme, the way that he dresses. Drake said it in a diss on Family Matters. They're going to talk about your fit again. But that is the way that he's able to express himself and to garner a fan base. It's through fashion. So the fashion was one of the first important things that he did. Another thing he did when it came to visuals was the live stream, right? I'm going to include the footage here for you to watch. Live streaming the video, putting out the video, all of those things were things that people wanted to talk about. And as he led up to this rollout, he had to get people talking. It's been a long time since we got a Rocky project. So what do you have to do? You got to muddy the water and get people talking, for better or for worse. And what is one way that Rocky can create conversation? It is around visuals, and it is around fashion. So the first way that he was able to achieve this number was visual communication, visual expertise, and fashion. Those three things, right, all fall under the same umbrella. That is how he got people talking about the project. Now, the second thing Rocky did was he went on a good press run, right? He went on SNL. He did this interview with the New York Times. And in these interviews, obviously the topic will come up of Drake, because Drake took shots at him during the battle. Rocky took shots at Drake during the battle. And this is the back and forth between Kendrick, but Drake included multiple people jumped in. And then on the album, which we'll get into in another section, Rocky sent some shots Drake's way. And of course, this was talked about and asked about. And listen, this is no shot at either camp or any artist. But listen, one thing you can count on is if you discuss Drake in a diss or in a rollout, it's going to get talked about and it's going to activate people to want to listen and pay attention. So let's check out a piece of this interview.
Some type of inspiration. And that's what's up, because I feel that way about me too. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
that said, you're being very magnanimous about it now, but you also have a song on this record called Stole Your Flow, where you're like not taking so kindly to people biting you. So obviously the internet's going to decide who you're talking about on that song.
Sure. I think we all know.
They're going to say it's Drake. I mean, that's a man who was with you in those early days too, brought you on tour. Where did things go wrong in that relationship?
I mean,
look at his face. I'm laughing because I'm like, I know he's waiting to see what is Rocky about to say right now. This is most people at home when they were watching this. Like, what you about to say right now, man?
I don't know. I started just seeing people who just started out as friends and just became foes, seemed like they was unhappy for you, and just started sending shots. And I think that's what led to any of our misunderstandings.
So he's like answering, but he's not really answering. Listen, let's just be real. It's women. The issue between the two of them have to do with women that they previously dated. I mean, this was a whole bar that Drake sent at him. This is a whole bar that he sent at Drake. I slept with your baby moms. And then Drake says, well, do the math who I was hitting then. So they're both talking about the mother of each other's children. And then whenever that gets involved with men, when you talk about ego, when you talk about children, when you talk about lovers or someone's fiance or wife, I don't think there's a way to really reconcile after that, or it will take a long time and it'll take maturity on both behalves. But I can pretty much tell you right now, that relationship is never being pieced up. So one thing that Rocky did well here is he got the conversation starters going. This was the most watched part of the interview. If you go to the analytics and you dig in on the back end things, you can see that this was the most clicked or the most clipped up part of this interview. So one thing he did to sell albums is find the right pieces to start a conversation about. While I was planning the recording of this video last night, Academics posted that him and Rocky recorded their interview. So again, these are conscious choices and decisions that Rocky and his team have made to make sure that he's going to the right outlets. Academics audience and the New York Times audience are not the same. But by going to various outlets, even talking about SNL's audience, he's able to cover a lot of bases, and his fan base is a bit diverse. It's not your typical hip hop fan base. It goes beyond that, obviously, because of the fashion and the other things that Rocky is a part of. But the most important piece and the real reason why he sold 200,000 first week, strategic partnerships. The first strategic partnership he did actually started in 2025 with Cash App, where he did this campaign where essentially he would pay off people's balances from using Afterpay through Cash App. They had a commercial, which I'll play here in the background. And essentially what it did was it allowed people to buy merchandise. It allowed people to preview tracks from Don't Be Dumb. And this essentially started the campaign for the album about 6 months ago. So that first partnership got his fan base hyped about the album. And it also got people who aren't even fans to discuss the album because they wanted a chance to get their bills paid off by participating in this campaign. That was the first strategic partnership. The second strategic partnership was with a company called Built. Now, Built is a tech company that allows users to pay their rent through the app, and they accrue points through doing this. So if you remember a few months ago, and I'll attach the headline, there was a big campaign where Rocky was going to pay the rent for people who are living in the building that he grew up in. Smart strategy. You are doing good service for people. And if someone is willing to pay your rent, what might you be willing to do? Listen, if someone paid my mortgage, I might be willing to say, hey, I'll buy your album. That is a good way to work with people. And the other part about it is he released different variants of his vinyl through the app. So users could use points that they've accrued through the Built app to essentially get the album for no cost, right? $0. But this will count as a physical sale because it's going to be shipped during the first week, and users are making the choice to buy a vinyl, whether they're using their actual dollars or points accrued through the app. And then when you bought the album, you were able to achieve a few things. Number one, you got a limited edition vinyl. Number two, you have now a collectible. Number three, you won a chance to win signed copies or you were able to be incentivized by having your rent paid because you were entered into these sweepstakes because you bought the album. So Rocky used these two partnerships for very specific reasons. Number one, to get back in touch with the people. Number two, reach a new audience, and I should say more than two. And number three, he incentivized people to buy and support the album because when you bought it, you were incentivized with different gifts or different collectibles. So listen, a lot of people are upset about this and saying, hey, this shouldn't count or they need to change the rules. But he followed the rules. He was just able to find a little loophole after loophole to find a way to sell more physical copies. And as of right now, the breakdown is really 130, somewhere between 100 to 130K physical sales and about 70K streaming, which equals up to the 200,000 first week. Musically, here's what I say. I think the album pushes the boundaries of his sound. It sounds different than any Rocky project that I have heard. I listened to it on the car all the way through, and I tried to do this twice. So if I'm going to give it a ranking, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not my favorite Rocky work. I think Long Live ASAP is the best project that I've heard from him, but it was good to see him back in the pocket and just delivering music. Now, of course, people want to talk about who did he diss. So on the album, he obviously dissed Drake. I think he dissed Travis Scott. And listen, we've heard these things before, and Charlamagne said it himself. He said, I don't want to hear about Rocky's music only when I'm talking about him dissing Drake. And I think that's a valid point. But again, strategically, if you're just thinking strategy and from a business standpoint, if I was a rapper, I would diss Drake too, because it's going to get people talking about the album. Another thing that you're going to want to listen to on the album is listen for who you didn't hear, and that is Playboy Cardi. Now, it is rumored that Cardi sent Rocky a cease and desist because Cardi might have had a verse on one of the songs. It might have been Helicopter, but that verse is no longer there. So we got to pay attention to see what's happening with that relationship. So obviously, Travis from Houston. Rocky had a lot of Houston influence on a lot of his early works. So that's a little weird. The him and Drake thing has been going on for a long time, but now is something going on with him and Cardi. That's something that we have to pay attention to. But on this channel, we didn't just want to talk about that. We also want to talk about how he was able to achieve that number and get a look at the strategy that his team used to get there. Now, this would be his highest selling project ever, and I'm going to put up his other first week sales, which is impressive. And I did not expect this. If you would have asked me what I think it would have sold, I would have said 100. The fact that it did 200, I was way off, and I think he proved a lot of people wrong. But trust me, when this number is officially released, there will be a lot of pushback on social media and from the public about how he got the number. So hopefully I put you ahead of the game where you can be able to explain to other people out there exactly how he did it. All right, now it's my ask. I want something from you. Please go in the comment section. Tell me, what did you think of the album? What did you think of the strategy? Is this something that you're going to save to your phone and replay time and time again? Or is this something that you didn't want to listen to, or you're going to skip it? I'm curious to see how other people feel about the album. And what do you think about the strategy that he used? Was it the right strategy? I think so. I think it was effective. So listen, if you've been here before, I appreciate you. If it's your first time here, make sure you like the video. It does all the wonders to get the video into the algorithm. Make sure you comment whether you liked my video, whether you disliked it, what would you change about it. I'm always willing to hear feedback. And again, if you can, please hype the video if you're on your phone, or share with a friend. Those are all things that will help continue to grow the channel. I go by the name J Roebuck. And listen, I appreciate you again. Salute, blessings. 2026 is off to a great start for us all. It's off to a great start for music, and there's a lot more on the way. You got J. Cole, you got Drake, you got Baby Keem, you got Don Toliver. There's a lot more videos to make because there's always something new to cover.